Hey guys, how are you doing today? It's Mark with Spiguyver Backpacking. Got the hammock up, kind of lounging. Wanted to do a little bit of a video to talk to you guys today about suspensions, the things that keep your hammock up in the trees. Now, suspension was one of those things that when I first got into hammock camping, and I still consider myself a relative newbie to hammock camping. I've only been doing it for a little over a year and a half, so I'm still learning as I go. But I wanted to talk to you guys about suspension. 3 different kinds of suspension I brought out here with me today so we could take a look. I've got the Atlas strap type of suspension, which is just like the webbing with the loops where you can click a carabiner in it. I've got Whoopie Slings with tree huggers, and I've got Mule Tape with tree huggers. And I've got different length tree huggers, just so we can talk a little bit about that as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I've got up right now. Okay, so on this end, I've got what I normally use. This is the stuff that I take out in the woods with me. Relatively new are these yellow Kevlar straps. These are the tree huggers. These are the 7-foot ones. They give you a little bit more flexibility than the 4 or the 5-foot ones. And here's why. So I've got a relatively small tree today, and I've wrapped it 3 times around, and I still have a couple of feet of strap available to me. So if the distance between the trees was longer, I could only do, one strap, have to be higher, 1 wrap around, and then go out. But this is how I've got it right now. I like the huggers. It has the loop in each end. So there's a loop on this end, ran it through, and then there's a loop here where I have the Mule Tape attached. So Mule Tape is very, very flexible stuff. And here is the connection. So let me put this down and show you guys how to make that connection. Okay, so here is the end of my hammock. I've got the continuous loop that goes through the sewn channel, and I've got my Mule Tape on here. Very easy to install and remove. It's just run through there. I've got quite a bit of the Mule Tape just so that I have plenty of room. But it's very adjustable because I can go all the way up to the end of it or extend it out as far as I need to. So what you do is you put it up through the continuous loop, you make a loop, you go through the other side and pull it through, and the knot ends up on your continuous loop, not back on your Mule Tape. Okay? And then to make an adjustment, say that was a little too loose, I just simply come a little bit higher up, redo the knot, pull it through, tighten it down, and it's that simple. Then for the excess, I usually will grab it here, figure eight it around my pinky and my thumb, leave about a foot out, set it here, wrap it around, put my finger in there to create a little loop, go about 2 more times around through the loop that I created, pull on it, and now I've got a drip line and all my Mule Tape is secured there. The next setup we can talk about is this one, the Atlas strap or webbing strap that has loops. So you see each one of these blue sections creates a loop. So it's looped in there, and each one of these sections is a place where you can put a carabiner. So you just have your, again, sewn channel, continuous loop, carabiner, and that carabiner can now be moved on this strap to whatever loop you need it to make the right hang angle. So very, very easy, very quick, very simple. So the only complaint I have with this type of system is that it's not finitely adjustable. Or it's not infinitely adjustable, it's finitely adjustable because you only have a loop every 6 inches. So if this was too low and we had to go a little bit higher, the next highest one is about 6 inches up on that strap. So you can see that could create a problem where you're just slightly outside of it. So right now you can see I've got it set up again with my Mule Tape on the foot end, the continuous are the Atlas straps on the head end, but I also have a second setup here on the head end, and it is a Whoopie Sling setup. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Whoopie Slings, let's take a closer look at how this works. So this suspension, this half of a suspension, utilizes the Whoopie Sling. Okay, so this was the first setup that I purchased when I purchased my first hammock from Dutch. It's got the, I believe this is the 5-foot tree hugger, so it's got the loop on each end, and then it's got the Amsteel Whoopie Sling with a Dutch titanium whoopie hook on the end. So the whoopie hook is really nice because it just clips right onto the continuous loop at the end of your hammock. Now to make adjustments, you're going to loop the hugger around the tree, and then you're going to have the strap coming out from the tree. And then from here, this is going to come down, this clips on your hammock, and you've got this line that hangs off right in the middle. So it is actually the adjustment point. So to make it shorter, so you can see where the hook is here, to make it shorter, you grab the upper end where it comes through and pull. To make it longer, you grab the lower end and pull the piece that comes through. So you can see how that's adjustable. Now, here I will show you the problem that I had with this one. So because of the distance between these two trees, I'll show you what I ran into several times out in the woods. So I've got this, my hugger is wrapped twice around the tree. I can't go a third time around the tree without the Amsteel actually being against the tree or against the webbing. Now, a lot of people don't have a problem with the Amsteel being against the webbing. I just didn't want to do that because it puts a big pressure point there. Okay, so here's the problem. This is set up about where I want it with the Atlas strap. I showed that I have this wrapped 2 times around, and I will go absolutely as short as this thing possibly can go. So there's the hook. There's barely, I mean, I can't even get my pinky through the loop that's there. And as you can see, it is still too long for this application. So the only way to do this would be, again, to wrap it around one more time, or to find another set of trees that are further apart, or pull it further to that side. Because I've got the mule tape on that side, that would be one way to do it, but I normally don't carry 2 types of suspension. Usually when I was out with Whoopie Slings, it was one set of Whoopie Slings. But we can artificially take a look at this here and how to use it. So let me change out which suspension is on here. So here's the Whoopie Sling. So it's hooked up, it's on here. Again, to make the adjustment, you find the bottom, pull it open, figure out which one goes through the middle, pinch, and make the adjustment. So that's how you make the adjustment to make it longer. Again, on the upper end, exactly the opposite to make it shorter. And so there, it's as short as it goes, and you can see that right now the hammock's not quite where it needs to be. So as you can see, there's a lot of different straps out there. I'm only showing you 3 types of straps today, the 3 types that I've used. There are also cinch buckles, there's spiders, there's toggles. I mean, there are so many different things, different applications out there. I'm just showing you the 3 that I've used, and the one that I really prefer is the huggers with the mule tape. For me, it gives the best amount of flexibility with distances between trees. You aren't running into problems where it's too short, and so you're running out of space with your Amsteel on your Whoopie Slings. Now the next question that you have to ask yourself is, how long of a tree hugger do I need? And that's really going to depend on the woods, the environment that you are camping in. Now if you only have really small trees, a 4 or a 5 foot might get you by. But what I found is that a lot of times I'd get out in the woods and there'd be some big trees that I really wanted to use because they made a nice anchor point and really fit into where I wanted to camp. But because of the length of strap that I was using, I had 4 foot and then I moved to 5 foot. Sometimes I wasn't able to get them all the way around the tree. The 7 foot, I haven't found a tree yet in my area that I can't get it around. I know that some people that are using cinch buckles have the webbing straps that are about 20-25 feet long, and they'll run it through and have no problem. I mean, the biggest tree out there, with some exceptions, they could use. So let's take a look at what I'm talking about. Okay, so the 3 different straps I brought out here today, I've got on this bigger tree. So you can see this tree is a little bit bigger than the ones that I've got my hammock set up on right now. And this just gives you a good indication. It shows you, the different variety of trees and tree sizes that are out there. While these ones are small enough that I double looped the 5-foot, triple looped the 7-foot, and still had plenty of room left over, this tree doesn't give you that option. So with the Atlas strap, you can see that it goes through, but really you only have now 2 attachment point options. You've got one at the end, and then one at the one that just has come through the loop. So really your options are very, very limited if you found this size tree when you're out hiking, out backpacking, out setting up your hammock. So then you go to the 5-foot, and the 5-foot even comes up short. You can see that you've got am still here. Now that's probably not going to be a problem. In this application, you can see that when I put tension on it, it doesn't even hit the tree. So I would use this. I would go with this and be fine. But it also limits your options as to how far away the next tree can be, so that you can get this to your hammock. Now, if you take a look at the Kevlar, this is a 7-foot hugger. Not only is it through, but I've also still got about 2 feet before I get to my mule tape. Then, if I walk all the way out, you can see I've got a lot of room to play with here. This much room at the end, I could still probably get a knot into it, so I could get that far away from the tree. But in order to do that and get a 30-degree hang angle, it would have to be way up that tree, and that's not how I normally do it. I usually, when I'm out looking for the right trees in the right area, what I do is I'll pace it off. Anything 3 to 4.5 pace lengths. So for me, a pace length, it's going to be, okay, I'm here at this tree. Okay, you can see I'm here. So 1 pace, 2 pace, 3, about 3. So this would be about the right length for me. Now, if we're looking between these 2 trees, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is about the maximum distance I can get away with, even with my my Kevlar and mule tape. And for this one to work, I would have to be up pretty high in the tree, so that I'm not dragging the ground, especially when you put the underquilt under here and you sit in it, it gets quite a bit lower and you don't want it dragging on the ground. So for me, this is about the right distance. So 1, 2, 3. That for me is about the perfect distance between trees. So there you have it. You've seen my preferences, what I use and why. Get out there, experiment, try things out. But for me, it was really a little bit intimidating when I went to Dutch's website the first time, and I was on there, and I went to pick a hammock, and it said suspension, no suspension. And I had to start doing some research, figuring out what a suspension was, what it did. And then when I finally found out, okay, that's what keeps it up in the trees, it was, what suspension do I need? Which is the right one for me? And really, when it comes down to it, he had 2 options when you buy a hammock from it. It's the cinch buckles or the Whoopie Slings. And it came down to weight for me. I'm kind of a weight weenie, count grams sometimes. As you can see from some of the other videos I've done, the stoves that I've made and my ultralight backpacking cook kit. I look at the weight of things, and the cinch buckles were just a little bit heavier than the Whoopie Sling, so that's the way I went. So for me, I've now found my perfect setup. It is the Kevlar and the Mule Tape. Very lightweight setup, sets up quick, very adjustable, infinitely adjustable, and then on top of that, there's no hardware. What I did find was I was packing some stuff up, and one of my Whoopie hooks, because of the way that they sit on there, I had my tadpole tarp over during the summer, and it was strung pretty low and pretty tight because of a storm that had come in. and because of me rocking in the night, it had actually, the whoopie hook had actually dug a hole through the end of the tarp, and I wasn't very happy about that. So now, no hardware at the end with the mule tape. So this is the setup that I'm using. I'm going to continue to use until, you know, either it fails on me, proves that it shouldn't be what I use, or something better comes along that makes me think about it. But for now, this is good. And you know, you guys get out there, have fun on the trail, do your thing, experiment, see what works for you, and stick with it. Don't let anyone tell you what you should be doing. You find out what you should be doing. I'm gonna lounge for a little while. You guys get out there, do it. I'll talk to you later.